Hello, wonderful person. Being messy is more common than people realize. A lot of the time it is a sign that the person is struggling to cope, such as trying to deal with depression or some other mental illness. Most messy people who let themselves go are not lazy. They are unmotivated due to things going on in their life. However, some people just do not care about being organized and clean. This video covers several reasons why someone or you may be messy. If you are living with a messy person or are messy yourself, then this video might shed some light on the hidden reasons why it is so hard to stay organized and clean, which may make it easier to address the root problem and get the person or you to change bad habits. This is video 1 in a 3-part series. Video 2 is about the effects of living in a messy environment. Video 3 is about possible solutions. It is a learned behavior. Much of our adult behavior are modeled on things we learned as a child. Growing up in a messy environment, as well as a clean but disorganized environment, may cause a person to pick up bad habits. Plus, they may never have learned to be organized and clean and see nothing wrong with being messy, as it is normal for them. A person may also pick up a bad habit of being messy to rebel against very strict parents. A habit that may persist as an adult, as it is never changed, or they are still subconsciously giving the middle finger to their parents. Normally, this person will be messy from the time you meet them and may become worse over time. With a learned behavior, where that is a model they grew up with, the person may just not care about being organized or clean. Their standards are just lower than yours, and they don't see the point or benefit in changing. It was good enough for them growing up, so it is good enough for their children. Removing bits of food out of their beard or teeth may be asking too much from them. If they are not narcissistic, there is hope of them changing and upping their standards. Narcissists think they are perfect already. Needing time out. When life starts to go wrong, we often instinctively start to withdraw from others. Focusing on things that stress us also takes a lot of energy, leaving us less motivated to clean up. In this case, there's often a slow progression of a person letting things slip, with becoming messy, such as maybe not washing the dishes, or picking up dirty clothes where the person normally did. They often also start to eat unhealthier as they seek comfort in food. Or it can be starting to overspend if that gives them comfort. The problem is often temporary and lasts until the issue is resolved, such as writing an exam, getting a job if unemployed, or resolving a conflict with someone else. However, if a problem is not resolved or more problems join the queue, then it can overwhelm the person and cause a crisis. And being messy may become a permanent way of life for them. Effects of abuse. Abuse causes significant negative changes in a person, including a loss of drive to do things one does not see as significant, lowering of personal standards as one's self-worth is destroyed, as well as starting to feel hopeless that causes you to be unmotivated to take care of yourself and your environment. As your pride in yourself is destroyed, your reason to be neat and clean evaporates, and so to your will to eat healthily. Eating unhealthy changes your energy levels, which will further cause you to have less will and power to do tasks other than breathing. You're not lazy or filthy, you are just trying your best to stay alive. If after being with a person for some time you have gone backward in life, they are a bad influence on you. Going through a significant life event. Sometimes life comes at you sideways and hits you harder than an NFL tackle. This can be a divorce, job loss, death in the family, failing an exam, losing a pet, getting bad health news, getting bad financial news, or anything overwhelming for you. This can cause a person to become unmotivated to clean up and be organized. If a problem that causes you stress is not dealt with, it can spiral out of control and you become messier and messier. This can eventually lead to you suffering from depression, which will make it harder to even take care of yourself, let alone clean the house. Fear of failure or success. Many people fear failure, success, or even both. With a fear of failure, the person often becomes messy when they need to do something important. It could be searching for a job, studying for exams, or fixing the back door. Being messy is then an excuse for why they cannot start. Once they start, the reality is there that they can fail, so it's better not to start. The person may say, if only I were organized, I can finish my studies, get my CV done, or start my own business. This is often because they have been made to believe that to fail in something means they are a failure. So it's better to be called messy than a failure. Learning that your actions are separate from your worth will help, and that failure is part of life and does not define you. With a fear of success, the person often becomes messy as soon as there are some signs that they are becoming or could become successful. It is a form of self-sabotage. They may then use cleaning up to procrastinate or just use the mess as an excuse for why they cannot reach success. This may be due to them having been taught that they are not worthy of success, that money and rich people are evil. Or they may fear the change that will happen if they are successful. Maybe they will need to move, or people will treat them differently. Or they may fear that they will change if they are successful. They may also fear that people will then want to share in their success, and they don't want to say no. So it's better to not be successful than having to say no to people who will guilt trip you into giving your success away. Too much stuff. We get bombarded with so much advertising that stuff will make us happy and solve our problems. And when it does not, we are told something else will make us happy. Stuff is also often seen as a status symbol, so often people end up with too much stuff as they think there's safety in having stuff around them. This can cause you to have so much stuff that you cannot keep it organized, or it is such an overwhelming job to do that eventually the house is a mess. Sometimes we are made to believe we are only as worthy as the things we own, or people we love never see us or validate us. So we think we will get their validation and approval through buying stuff. We may then justify buying something by convincing ourselves we need it by imagining how someone else will be impressed when they see or hear about what we bought. When they are not, we may subconsciously resent the item and never use it, or not even bother to neatly pack it away. You may then end up being surrounded by stuff you subconsciously hate, which will make it hard to organize the stuff, which is spending time and energy on things you may secretly regret buying. There may also be an underlying mental health problem that causes a person to seek comfort in buying stuff. Holding on to the past. Possessions allow us to mentally hold on to parts of ourselves we are not ready to let go of, or to remind us of a happy time in our life when things are not going so well. It may be holding on to old work clothes after being fired or retiring, trophies and other awards from childhood, stuff we bought on holiday, or when things were good. We may feel that keeping these things in the open will inspire us to be great again, but often it just makes us miserable for not being who we want to be. Or it gets us to focus so much on the past that we think we lost, that we ignore and lose what we currently have. Keeping clothes that we hope we one day will fit in again is a sign we are not happy with who we currently are. And keeping clothes from when we were larger is often a sign that we have not yet fully dealt with the underlying problem that caused us to be overweight, which creates a risk that we will relapse again. Keeping stuff from bad times in our life can be a sign that we have not fully processed the event and not all wounds have been healed. This can include things of people who hurt us that we needlessly hold on to. Out of sight is not out of mind. They are avoiding something. People frequently try to avoid or hide things they don't want to deal with. The person may be messy so they cannot find the mail because they don't want to deal with their financial situation and fear seeing how bad it is, or they are avoiding other people, especially family, and live in a mess so that other people do not want to come around. Some people will be messy because they don't want to move or sell a property, so they try to put potential buyers or new tenants off. It may be that they don't want a roommate to leave if a roommate must find a replacement. So by being messy, they make it hard for the roommate to find someone who will take over the rent. They may also be holding on to someone, such as a romantic breakup or a death of a partner, and the person is avoiding letting go. It could be a child who left the family home and a parent is not able to let go. By having the other person's belongings out, they are reminded of the other person. Often they fear that if they let the stuff go, they will forget the person. Perceptual blindness. Perceptual blindness, also called inattentional blindness, is when a person fails to see something in plain sight due to a lack of attention. This is often when a person would say make a snack or coffee and then walk away leaving crumbs, butter, jam streaks and more behind. They may even leave food out as their mind is just not focusing on cleaning up behind them. It can be because they are so occupied with something else or because they just don't think about the mess they make because it does not bother them, as someone else always cleans it up, or they don't think it is a big deal. If you were to stop them at that moment and turn them around, they may be shocked to see the mess they created and can actually start to deny it was them. It may also be that a person is so occupied with something else going on in their life that they don't see the mess around them, as their brain just does not have the energy to deal with cleaning up if they were to realize how big the mess is. If they were temporarily distracted, then they may one day walk into the house and be shocked to see how they are living. If they are scatterbrained, then they may never fully realize what a mess they create. If pointed out, they may be sorry at that moment, but the next day they carry on as before, as their brain just does not have the power to process their environment and what is going on in their head. It is in their DNA. Some people are just not born to be organized and struggle to focus for long on one thing. It is hard for them to put things back in their place. They often get easily bored and place things all over, causing a constant search for things, such as they make a meal and while doing so they misplace their coffee, which they only realize is gone when they're halfway through their meal, if they even finish their meal. People like these often find comfort in a messy room and may get agitated when a place is too clean to their liking. They may unconsciously mess up the place, such as spilling sugar and milk while making coffee and leaving empty plates of crumbs on the table after a snack without realizing what they did. They don't see the mess they made, they just know they feel somehow better. It is, however, not an excuse. It may be harder to be organized for them, but it can be done, and new habits can be learned. A form of punishment. Becoming messy and dirty is often a form of passive-aggressive behavior where someone attacks another person due to feelings of anger and resentment that are not dealt with. A partner may start to stop cleaning the house when they are unhappy with their partner. The problem is that people who use passive-aggressive behaviors rarely state the problem they have with you, so it rarely gets resolved. The targeted person may feel disrespected, as they don't know there is an issue, for the other person may say they are fine or refuse to talk about the issue. This is often because the person has not learned how to healthily deal with conflict or emotions such as anger, or because the other person is refusing to hear them out, such as a narcissist who is always right. And passive-aggressive behaviors such as being messy are the only way to show disapproval or being unhappy. They are narcissistic. Narcissistic people have little or no empathy for others and are extremely entitled. Some may even feel it is beneath them to clean up after themselves, even if they live alone. Messy covert narcissists are especially a problem, as they have learned that they can ignore their duties and eventually someone will do it for them. Guilt-tripping, shaming, pleading, bribing and arguing do not work with them. They just believe it is beneath them to clean up and know eventually the other person will give in. They will often have 10 excuses for why they cannot clean up. Some will claim it is not them that messed the place up, even as they are busy making a mess. These people will play the victim when you call them out, or create such an argument that you just rather clean up than try to get them to do anything. They may be so good at acting, such as making as if they are sick or just too tired or don't have a time, that you initially believe them, but over time you may see that their excuses are fake. You will also spot narcissistic traits in other situations, such as them devaluing you, calling you names, disrespecting you and your boundaries, and having double standards. You're not going to change this person. They think they are a god or goddess who should not be expected to clean up after themselves. If you found this video informative, I would appreciate it if you would hit the like button. Learn more about narcissism by watching the videos suggested to you now.